Welcome.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone doing? I'm going to talk to you this morning about a word we don't use in business very much, and that word is hope. Webster defines hope as a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. I'll add to that definition that the most powerful things that you want to happen are often positive, right? That they're something better than today. This great country that we live in today was founded on a passionate hope for a better future, right? As it says in the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Certainly, the pursuit of happiness qualifies as a hope for a better future, right? So, before I explain to you how hope works for business, let me explain to you what hope, the absence of hope, looks like. I spent 10 days in Malawi recently, in Malawi, Africa, which was a really far way away. It was an amazing experience. I spent 5 of those days literally in what they call the bush, out in remote villages and places like that. And I had the pleasure in one of these villages of meeting this little girl. Now, this little girl couldn't be more than a year old. And in the midst of a meeting with all of the adults and everyone else in that village, this little girl decides to play with a handmade ball and kick it around and roll it to the other kids in the area, and just had this wonderful expression on her face. While at the same time, in the midst of feeling all this joy, you can notice that those clothes, which are probably the only clothes that she owns, are not in the best shape, right? And so, let me tell you a couple things about her future. So, before she turns 7, she will likely have dropped out of school. In the country of Malawi overall, 25% of the kids, drop out of school in 1st grade. Yes, I said 1st grade. So that doesn't bode well, right? That as a result of that, she likely will never learn how to read. She likely will never own a book in the language that she speaks every day. She will be married probably by the age of 14, probably have kids by the time she's 15 or 16 years old. I can't fathom having to raise kids at 15, 16 years old, but often, many days of the week, she will travel 5 or 6 miles walking to gather firewood. And she will gather sticks that are 8 to 10 feet long and carry a bundle of them on her head 5 to 6 miles back to her house. That gives a different definition to the chores, right? I tried to tell my kids about this. I said, how about your chore bee? All day long, you hike 6 miles, and they're like, no, I don't think I like that one. There will be a tremendous effort for her just to acquire food for her family. Starvation is a massive problem. So, unfortunately, her future is going to be completely focused on survival, right? Finding the next meal, and in the dry season, where food becomes scarce, hopefully that meal will be at least once a day. Sometimes it may be more every couple of days. She doesn't even have a context to contemplate what a better future could look like. So life in Malawi is very hard. Life in Malawi is immeasurably different than what life is like here in Orange County. So while in Malawi, I actually met another friend. This guy's name is Rashid. Now Rashid is quite a guy. He lives in another remote village. He has 4 kids, just like me, even though he looks like he's about 14, right? But he is fired up about his future. He is excited. He is really fired up for the people around him. Why is that? Because he has a vision for what a better future could look like. He has hope. The really cool thing about hope is that it can actually be given. It can be caught, right? And this actually happened to me when I was younger. When I was a freshman in high school, I had an English teacher. Her name was Mrs. Marinara. I went to high school outside of New England, so everybody's names were either Italian or Irish. And Miss Marinaro asked me to read Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech out loud to the class. Now, you've probably all heard snippets of the I Had a Dream speech. Perhaps you've even watched it live on videotape footage. It is a whole nother thing to read it out loud to 30 plus of your peers in a schoolroom setting. So, needless to say, I was a little nervous. She kind of sprung it on me. It wasn't like it was a planned thing that I got to rehearse. But let me tell you that the words in that speech were really powerful. And on that day, reading the words, I have a dream, I caught a different kind of hope. I caught a different kind of hope for a different kind of future that Martin Luther King had for this country, that came back to me when I got to meet the people in Malawi. And that kind of hope was caught. That kind of inspiration was given to me not only by Martin Luther King, but by my teacher, Mrs. Marinaro, who had the confidence in me to say, hey Mike, I want you to read this because I think you'll do a good job. That gave me a lot of confidence to do a lot of great things. So my experience in Malawi, my experience from 9th grade, has driven home a conviction for me and a better belief for tomorrow that is only ever, that hope and the giving of hope or the catching of hope is the only thing that has ever brought about organizational or cultural change. In addition, it's brought about a big realization for me and an urgency for me for business owners here in Orange County. That now is the time, there is not time to wait, that business is a team sport, right? And business is not designed to be run in your own world and confined to your own thoughts. That if you know people that are struggling with their business and don't have a sense of hope or something that can be better, there is an answer. As a professional business coach, I am specially trained and skilled in extracting vision from people. Vision is critical to being able to create hope, right? I help people to define a key measure of what it means to have a better future, right? You can have aspirations, but once you put a measure on something that says I'm going to have X amount of clients or X amount of customers or X amount of revenue, it changes the game, right? Goals are important. Remember, survival is not a goal. Getting your next meal is not a goal. In my work as a coach, I've seen the power of clear vision. I've seen the power that a big dream creates. I've seen it completely change the trajectory of a business and the life of the owner and its employees. I received an email just a couple of days from a past client of mine, and she told me, you know what, we are hitting our vision for 2012, and we've already locked it in that we're going to hit it for 2013. And her email, the excitement and the hope and the vision for what is coming jumped off the page at me. Once that vision is set, there's a couple of things that I bring to the table to help entrepreneurs move forward. One is that I teach. I help people learn new things. I help challenge the way that they think. I also encourage. I find that so many of us as entrepreneurs are so hard on ourselves and we don't ever celebrate the wins that we get, right? So encouraging people has become a hallmark of stuff that I do. And also, I hold people accountable. Sometimes I have to break out the 2x4 and put on my best Damon and say, no, you said you were going to do this, and it's time to go get it done. So I have a dream. On the plane back from Malawi, I rewrote out a new vision for what I want to do. And I have a dream that I want to develop and transform the lives of 500 business people in here in Orange County in the next 5 years. Oh yeah, I have hope. I have belief. I know that this will happen. And so I want to give it to as many people as I can. So who wants some? Thank you very much.
Very inspirational. Now we're going to hear from Bryant. Bryant, after majoring in Management Information Systems at the University of Arizona, Bryant Troop began his career doing